Ever wondered how many millionaires there are in the world? According to Credit Suisse, there are 46.8 million millionaires worldwide, with a total net worth of $158.6 trillion. That's almost half of the world's entire wealth. From one perspective, becoming a millionaire seems so difficult that only a handful of people become one. But from the other side, when you have almost 47 million millionaires, it seems like it may not be that difficult to become one, especially when 18.6 million of them are in the US. However, it's not easy to spot them because they don't lead a super luxurious life, but they have the financial stability to live comfortably. So here in this video, we're going to find out what the 7 non-obvious signs that someone is rich are. Number 1. Understanding accounting. The business world and the stock market are all standing on the shoulders of accounting. Without having a deep understanding of accounting, you can't really manage money. The first sign that someone is wealthy or on the way to becoming wealthy is that they understand accounting. They don't necessarily have to know every detail, but they have a general idea about everything. They know how to read balance sheets, income statements, cash flow statements, etc. They know how to analyze the financial statements and figure out if the company's on the right track. You can have the best business idea ever, but if you lack accounting skills, you won't be able to turn it into a profitable business. History is filled with great innovators, but they couldn't profit from them because they lacked the business skills, and not knowing accounting is actually a deal breaker. Of course, you can hire accountants to do the job for you, but without personal knowledge, you can't make the right decisions to drive the company in the right direction. Number 2. The ability to delay gratification. This is probably the most important trait on this list. When you grow up in a low-income family with no fault of your own, you can't think long-term because it's difficult to focus on achieving something great in 10 years when you're struggling to put food on the table. When you grow up and your concern is to fulfill your daily needs, that mentality will become part of you. Instead of saving money to invest, for example, you indulge in sweets and entertainment, but you aren't confident that you can get that tomorrow. Because when you were a kid, your parents promised to buy you sweets, for example, but didn't often deliver out of financial necessity. Instead of investing in yourself or spending a few years building a business, you decide to settle on low-paying jobs. There's a great book that talks about it, Scarcity: Why Having Too Little Means So Much. Delaying gratification also means being disciplined. Nothing meaningful can be built overnight. Whether you want to become the CEO of the company you're working at, or a successful athlete or an entrepreneur, you need years of constant work and dedication, no matter how talented you are. Number 3. They focus on earning more than saving. No one ever got rich by just saving. Not to say that it's not important, but there's always a limit to how much you can save. At the end of the day, you have to spend money to cover your basic needs, such as shelter and food. Since you're a human being, you want to entertain yourself and live comfortably. That's why if you just focus on saving, you probably won't go far. That's why it makes more sense to focus on increasing your income all the time. But how do you create an extra or multiple sources of income? If you have a job, that's almost impossible, because all you can hope for is a 5% raise annually. Try looking for other streams of income. Do something online. Put your money to work. Let it generate income for you. Number 4. Beauty pays well. It sounds bizarre, but there's a book called Beauty Pays: Why Attractive People Are More Successful. You should read it to get the idea behind this point. If you think about it, we naturally love to deal with more attractive people. And it's not about the opposite gender, but just overall. We often criticize celebrities who have done facial surgeries to look more attractive, and yet millions of people follow them after they've done it, thus making them wealthier. That's not to say that every attractive person is rich, but attractive people on average earn more. And multiple studies have shown that the better-looking men had higher starting salaries and faster earnings growth in their first 10 years. For women, looks had little effect on their starting salaries, but did improve their earnings growth in the long run. Some studies even indicated that better-looking people get lower interest rates. That's insane! If you're hiring a salesperson, for example, would you hire someone who would attract more customers by being attractive and generate more sales, or someone who's less attractive and would attract fewer customers? Of course, not all professions require great looks, such as sales, modeling, or acting. But if you had two professionally equal options, most people would lean to hire the more attractive one. Some people are lucky genetically and naturally look beautiful, but that doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. You can't change your genes, but there are plenty of things you can do, such as dressing up properly, fixing your hair, grooming, exercise, hitting the gym regularly. You can make yourself look much more attractive than you imagine. Number 5. Being good at socializing. Facebook made Zuckerberg one of the richest people in the world. But Sean Parker early on realized the opportunity and built a strong relationship with Zuckerberg and got a tiny small slice of Facebook, which today is worth over $2.7 billion. One thing that's certain about life is that you can't go far alone. No matter how hard you try, the world is built in such a way that you need other people to achieve great things. Of course, sometimes you're so smart that no matter how terrible your social skills are, people will still get around you because they see that they can gain something. Although, it isn't always like that. Most people aren't going to build the next Facebook or Microsoft. That's why the ability to build strong connections with others is a deal breaker. Assume you've come up with a good business idea. By having big enough valuable connections, you can quickly turn it into a profitable business. Do you want to raise money for your business? Or do you want to get hired? Learn how to sell yourself? You want to make friends and surround yourself with charismatic, ambitious, and talented people? You should know how to talk to them in such a way that they would love to connect with you. The point is, the better social skills you have, the higher your chances of building wealth. Number 6. Be a little more greedy than others. Once you make enough money to pay all the bills, it's really difficult to motivate yourself to earn more. That drive and hunger you had at the beginning slowly fades away as you get into a comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're satisfied with yourself, what else could you possibly want? But to achieve more than others, you have to be a little more greedy. Of course, not too much, because it can destroy you. But the desire to achieve more, bring more value into society, is a fundamental character. We're not just talking about businesses, but sports, academics, even games. Number 7. Take calculated risks. Jim Rohn once said, "If you're not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary," and it's 100% true. You'll achieve nothing without taking some risk. But there's a huge difference between taking a risk by relying on luck and taking a calculated risk. For example, whenever you invest in the stock market, you're always risking your money. But before throwing your money away, you can analyze the market and find out the most profitable stocks with minimum risks. The companies you can be confident about aren't going to declare bankruptcy the next day. Even if their stock falls in the short term, the company's overall valuation will grow. The same applies to everything else. You want to drop out of college and start a business? Great. But how about figuring out what business you want to start first? Come up with a plan and then drop out. Or before borrowing money to start a business, make sure your math is right. Sometimes, making risky decisions lead to great outcomes, but often they don't, and you might end up losing everything. These are the 7 traits of people who are often successful or wealthy. The more of them you incorporate into your life, the higher your chances will be to be wealthier. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.